Bangladesh are through to the Super 8s. They needed the win against Nepal, a crucial victory which they needed. Albeit that victory has come at the back of a big controversy. Yes, they won the match, but could things have really been different? There was justice that prevailed, but we're here to talk about a moment that has grabbed all the headlines. That's a big talking point in this match, and there are 4 characters that we are here to talk about. The incident I'm talking about happened in the 14th over when Bangladesh were batting, and this is what the chronology of events look like. Let me first tell you who the 4 characters are over here that we're going to be talking about. One is the striker, then is the non-striker, which is Zakir Ali, and he, by the way, plays a pivotal role in this story. The third is the bowler, and the fourth is the umpire. We'll tell you how is it that all 4 had a role to play over here. Sandeep Lamichhane was the bowler when this particular incident happened, and let me tell you what the chronology of events is that you see in these 4 images that we've put together for you. Number 1, right over there, if you see the image up top on the left, that's the bowling team going up in appeal. Sandeep Lamichhane was the bowler. This was a leg before appeal. Image number 2, which is the one adjacent to it, is where you see, and this is the tricky part, you see Tanzim approaching the non-striker, which is Zakir Ali. Let's come down and notice image number 3. You see the 2 of them having some sort of a chat over there. In that last image, in fact, the one adjacent to this one, you see then the DRS decision, whatever the projection had to show. But let's just go step by step and tell you what is it that exactly happened and how the 2 Bangladeshi batters who were on the pitch were in violation of a couple of ICC code of conduct rules, which, by the way, could mean that the 2 of them face some sort of suspension as well. What could the degree of that suspension be, the punishment be? We'll tell you about that as well, so stick with us. Now, this happened in the 14th over. Like I said, notice the DRS timer. Like we said, the bowling team had gone up in appeal. The DRS timer showing that there was 1 second left. Tanzim, there you see, he was on his way to the dugout, but look at what Zakir Ali, the non-striker, is doing while he goes off the pitch. Look at what Zakir Ali is doing. Zakir Ali is looking at the dressing room. Clearly, you don't need any more evidence. He is looking at the dressing room. There you see the umpire there as well. Everything happening in front of the umpire on his watch. And Tanzim has been given out. He's walking away from the pitch. He's still looking over there at the dressing room. This is scene number 1 that we want to talk about over here. Let's move to scene number 2. What happens after that? There, after he gets the message from the dressing room, Zakir Ali then gestures Tanzim Hassan Shakib to go ahead and take the referral. There you see, we've got it snapped out for you. He was gesturing to Tanzim to go ahead and take the referral, and what happened subsequently, look at the last image that we have for you, the one on the right side of the screen. After he gets the message from Zakir Ali, Tanzim goes ahead, and even though, by the way, notice the one thing which is pivotal over here, the DRS timer has gone to 0. Even, by the way, the time that the 2 of them were conversing, even then, by that time, DRS timer had hit 0. And now, while the time has elapsed, that's when Tanzim goes ahead and takes the review. And guess what? All of this happening under the watch of the on-field umpire. Now, this is not allowed. Even the most fringe cricket fan knows that this is not allowed. Firstly, the timer is there for a reason. Secondly, you cannot be in consultation with anyone that is not in the field of play. It has to be a decision that mutually can be taken between the striker and the non-striker, but you're not supposed to be taking any assistance from anyone who's not in the field of play. I'll take you back to what happened in 2017. Remember the brain fade moment when Steve Smith looked at the dressing room? Virat Kohli wasn't pleased, and the umpires also didn't allow then the DRS decision to be taken as well, or the DRS call to be taken by Australia, which then eventually was called by Steve Smith a brain fade moment by him. Something similar that you saw here, but this time the difference being that the time had elapsed, number 1. Number 2, the decision, by even when the umpire was well within his discretion, was well within his rights to turn down any such thing or any such appeal for a DRS call, the umpire went ahead and gave the DRS call as well. He took into consideration the DRS call that was made by Bangladesh. Now, what is it that the Article 3.2 of Appendix D of the T20 World Cup, what does it say as far as the rule is concerned in certain situations? In these situations, if a captain or either batter has received direct or indirect input emanating other than from the players on the field, then they may at their discretion decline the request for a player review, clearly being stated in the rule as far as Article 3.2.3 of Appendix D of the World Cup is concerned. Let me read it further. It says that in particular, signals from the dressing room must not be given. Now, this basic as far as DRS calls are concerned, but then not only the umpire not using his discretion, but the time had elapsed, so that is contravention 1, then not using his discretion, contravention number 2, and lastly Bangladesh players as well. What were they really doing? Bangladesh players should have known that this is not allowed. This is something we've seen in cricket happen earlier as well, but went against the set precedent and did something which they shouldn't have done, albeit, like I said at the start of the video, that justice did prevail because it was just the falling ball that Tanzim did get out, but in the first place something like this should not have happened. Now, what is it that Article 2.15 of the ICC Code of Conduct also says with regards to certain situations? The said article bars players from any attempts on the field of play to seek assistance from any person off the field of play in order to decide whether to request a referral to the TV umpire. So it's not just the World Cup, it is an ICC norm. It is the Article 2.5 of the ICC's Code of Conduct, which players are expected to know, and DRS is something you've been using for quite a while now. All teams are well aware of the fact that this has to be mutual consultation. You cannot be taking external help, and guess what? There could now be certain sanctions that the two players concerned might have to face. Not is it that the possible punishment for Zakir Ali and Tanzim could possibly look like, remember, the matter will be up for investigation, but if found guilty, both or either could be charged for committing a level 3 offense, which could amount to anywhere between 4 to 12 suspension points. Remember, there are demerit points, there are suspension points, and for such an act 4 to 12 suspension points could be awarded to either the both of them or one of them, depending on who's found guilty. And what could this mean? Now, if it's 4 suspension points, then that could mean that they'd be barred from either 2 tests or 4 ODIs or T20Is. Guess what? If it's anything more than that, let's say if it's 8 points, you just multiply the punishment into 2. So it could then be 4 test matches or 8 ODIs. You will then have to triple it if it ends up being 12 suspension points that get awarded to either of the players or both the players. So there is definitely some sort of suspension coming the way as far as the two Bangladesh players are concerned. They are into the all-important Super 8s. It's now going to be a matter of investigation, and how quickly do you have a decision on this now? That's going to be the key going forward, because depending on how quickly the investigation happens, that will determine whether or not they are able to take part in the Super 8s, or does the punishment in fact go beyond the World Cup as well. Depending on the degree of punishment, that is something we'll have to wait and see.